everybody! So today's video is going to be the Booktubathon TBR and my N.E.W.T Challenge TBR. So if you don't know what the Booktubathon is a week-long sort of celebration of reading where there's several challenges that take place over the course of the week. The main challenge is to read 7 books in 7 days. But there's a list of prompts/challenges that we have that Ariel Bissett gave us. She's the one who hosts it, and I'll link her channel down below as well as the Booktubathon channel and the video. I'll link the video that she describes the challenge and everything. So the Booktubathon challenge takes place from July 30th to August 5th. Now, the other thing is I really wanted to participate in the N.E.W.T challenge, which takes place over the entire month of August, from August 1st to whenever it ends. I think August 31st. Anyways, the N.E.W.T challenges are all based on Hogwarts. So if you know the OWLs, the owls, the tests that they take, well, this is the N.E.W.T challenges. So this challenge is a bit harder and more challenging. And I'll go into more detail once I go to my N.E.W.T challenge TBR. So here's the thing too. I really wanted to do both challenges. If I did them separately, that means I'd have to read 17 books total. I didn't want to do that, so I tried to figure out a way to make the challenges sort of overlap each other and for books to count for more than one challenge. And I figured it out. I am so proud of myself. So I have a total of 10 books that I have to read in the month of August, 7 of which I have to read during that week of Booktubathon. The other challenge, too, was that I wanted to only take from my bookshelves. I didn't want to borrow from the library, I didn't want to go and buy any new books, and I was able to accomplish this except for one book, and it was really cheap, so I was pretty proud of myself for that. The other problem is that I am going to be traveling from August 3rd to, I'm basically going to be in a car for a long time. And so some of these I will probably have to buy an audiobook for, but that's okay because most of these are classics or middle grade. So I'm pretty excited. Anyways, let's get into the TBR for the Booktubathon, and then I'll show the N.E.W.T challenge TBR. So let's get started. I'm pretty excited. So the first challenge for the Booktubathon is to let a coin toss decide your first book that you're going to read. I'm going to do that at the end because I want to show you all my books first, and then I'll do the coin toss afterwards. The second prompt is something that you want to do. Now, something that I've always wanted to do and get better at is I want to write more letters to family, friends, and kind of make that a fun way of communicating and keeping in touch with people. Kind of bring it back, you know? So for that, I picked the Screwtape letters by C.S. Lewis. This is kind of a classic, but if you don't know what it's about a demon named Screwtape writing these letters to his nephew, who's sort of a lesser demon, learning the ropes on how to corrupt man, basically. So all these letters are Screwtape's advice to his nephew on how to corrupt people, basically. So that's Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis. This one's only about 209 pages long. All my books are 200 pages or less, at least. So the next challenge was read a book to movie adaptation. So read the book and then watch the movie. For that, I have The Black Stallion by Walter Farley. So this is kind of a cool, I guess, story about a black stallion. I actually have never seen the movies. I've never watched, I know there's several, I think there's several adaptations. I've never read any of the books, but I adore horses, and so I'm really excited to read this really cool old copy that I found. And this book's 273 pages, but it's got illustrations and the font is pretty big and all that stuff. Kind of another middle grade. So that's The Black Stallion. And then I'm going to watch the, I think it's 1970 something version of The Black Stallion. It has Mickey Rooney in it, and that's all I know about it. I watched the trailer for it the other day, but I'll rent it from the library and watch The Black Stallion. So the next challenge is to read a book with Guin on the cover. And for that, I have chosen A Wizard of Earthsea. Now this book is actually also counts as my book club book for the month of August. So this triples, this is a triple challenge winner for all these challenges that I'm trying to do. And it has, I can't see it too well, but it's got shades of green in the ocean here. And I have no idea what this is about. I've heard of it, but I've never watched or read anything to do with the Wizards of Earthsea or Earthsea in general. So I'm excited to find out what it's about. And that's that challenge. Hold on a sec, I have to plug in my laptop because it's gonna die. All right. The next challenge is I thought was really, really fun. So the next challenge is wear the same hat the entire time you're reading the same book. For that, I have Warhorse by Michael Morpurgo. I've watched the movie, I've seen the play adaptation, just never read the book. So I'm pretty excited for this one. This was also another really, really short one. It's only 165 pages. But for this one, I'm going to be wearing a cowboy hat the entire time I'm reading this one. This one's also my shortest book, so I think that's kind of appropriate. Anyways, so I have to wear this hat the entire time I'm reading Warhorse. I'm just going to keep my hat on the rest of the video. Also, this lighting is like super funky because I normally don't film in the evening, so I have like the cool light over here, but then I have my lamp over here. It's like warm light and cool light. Anyways, it looks pretty cool. Alright, the next challenge is to read a book with a beautiful spine. And for that, I have chosen The Tale of Despereaux by Kate DiCamillo. So the spine, if you can see that, I thought was really cool. It kind of looks like an old school spine, and this is all like foiled and shiny. But then it's got the little picture of Despereaux on the bottom. So that's my pick for a beautiful spine. And then the next challenge is to read 7 books in 7 days. So that leaves 2 empty slots for me, and for those I have chosen Wings of Fire by N.E.W.T. Sutherland, and this is book number 4 in the series. This is a book about, I can't tell you exactly what this one's about, but the Wings of Fire series in general is about a land full of dragons and sort of this prophecy about these young dragons that they're supposed to basically save the land, save the world, kind of a thing, and end a war. Anyways, I'm excited to find out what happens in this one. And then the next one I have is A Light in the Attic by Shel Silverstein. So this is a collection of poetry by Shel Silverstein, really, really sort of classic, and I'm super excited to read it. But it's time for the coin toss. So Shel Silverstein's going to be heads because there's a giant head on it, and this one's going to be tails because there's dragon tails on it. So the coin I'm going to be using for the coin toss, I didn't want to use a regular coin, so I found my Pokemon coins. These are used for the card game, like to decide certain cards require coin tosses. This is heads, the back is just black, it just says Pokemon on it. It's a Pokeball. Anyways, this is the Pokemon Kyogre, in case you're a Pokemon fan. This is my favorite Pokemon coin that I have. I have like 20 of them. But anyways, so heads, tails. And we're going to flip. Oh gosh. And the coin says heads. So my very first book for the Booktubeathon is going to be A Light in the Attic by Shel Silverstein. And gosh, I'm so excited. I grew up on Shel Silverstein and I adore his poetry. So that's my Booktubathon TBR. I'm planning on participating in at least 4 of the video challenges, and then the rest I might just do Instagram story or Instagram challenges. Anyways, so you guys aren't going to believe this, but every single one of these books counts towards a challenge in the N.E.W.T Booktubeathon, or the N.E.W.T challenges. So with the N.E.W.T challenges, what you have to do is you have to print off or look up this paper. Again, I will link the video down below where it's all gives you all the information. So with this, you kind of get the official letter about your N.E.W.Ts. And you pick a subject that you want to study or take your test in, take your N.E.W.T test. And if you want to pass it with just an acceptable, which is the very lowest level of passing grade, then you have to read that prompt, essentially. So, for example, Ancient Runes says to get an acceptable, you have to read a book set in the past. Then if you want an exceeds expectations, which is the next level up, then you have to read the first prompt and the second prompt, which is one of the most ancient books on your bookshelves that you haven't read yet. And then if you want an outstanding, you have to read the first 2 prompts and a third one, which is a book translated from another language. So that's just an example. So you have to, if you want to complete an entire subject, you have to read all 3 prompts. But if you just want to pass it, you can just read the first one, which is, you know, an acceptable grade. Now, the fun thing that I really liked about what I've seen other people doing with this is that they actually picked a magical career that they wanted to do in the wizarding world. And then they looked it up on the Wikipedia, if it has it. Some of them do have sort of the requirements, like what you need to pass in your N.E.W.Ts to become that occupation. But some of them don't, and so you kind of have to guess. And what I figured out was that I wanted to be what Newt Scamander is in the wizarding world. I want to be like a wizarding naturalist. He's sort of a mazozoologist, a magizoologist, something like that. Anyways, so I wanted to be one of those. I love magical creatures and I love reading about them, everything. I decided that I need to get a good grade, aka an outstanding, in care of magical creatures, and I need an outstanding in herbology, and then I decided that I need at least an exceeds expectations in defense against the dark arts, and then an exceeds expectations in potions, because all these things have effects in potions. But then defense against the dark arts, they also face a lot of dark creatures, and I feel like that knowledge would be really valuable. So that means there are 10 books that I have to read, 10 prompts. But, like I said before, all of the books that I showed in my Booktubathon TBR double as books that work for my N.E.W.T challenges. So I'm going to show you those. Now, to start off with, I'm going to show you my Care of Magical Creatures TBR, which is, the first one is An Animal on the Cover. And for that one, I have The Black Stallion by Walter Farley. The next challenge is read a book under 160 pages. And for that one, I have Warhorse. I am cheating a little bit. It's 165, but I think that it still counts. So Warhorse by Michael Morpurgo. Then to get an outstanding, I need to read a book that includes dragons in any way. And for that, I'm going to count my Wings of Fire by N.E.W.T Sutherland, because it's all about dragons. Next is my herbology N.E.W.Ts, which the first one is read a book with green on the cover. So that's the exact same challenge as the Booktubathon one. So a Wizard of Earthsea. Then next, read a book with illustrations. And for that, I have The Tale of Despereaux. This has illustrations all up in it. Then next, this one was really hard for me. Read a book with either one of these words in the title: light, air, sun, water. And this one took me a long time, and I finally figured out that this is literally the only book that I have that has one of those words in the title. So, A Light in the Attic by Shel Silverstein. Alright, then next I have my potions, which I want to get an exceeds expectations at least, so I have to read 2 books. First one is read a book that has a name of a color in the title. And for that, I've chosen Scarlet, which is book number 2 in the Lunar Chronicles. Finally decided to pick this one up. I've had it for a while, and I'm excited to go delve back into this one. So this one I won't get to until after the Booktubathon. So this one will be, I'll read it sort of the last half of the month in August. The second one, to get an exceeds expectations, I need to read a book with a male lead character, and for that I've chosen the Screwtape letters. Basically everybody in this book is male. So Screwtape is male, his nephew is male, and I think the man, and he's trying to corrupt a young man. So alright, and then lastly I have the Defense Against the Dark Arts N.E.W.Ts, which I also want an exceeds expectations. And that is going to be, this was the hardest prompt for me, and this is the only one where I cheated and didn't pick something off my shelves. I had to go and purchase this book, but it's okay because it's the sort of the last book in a series. And for that, so the prompt is to read the last book in a series. This one was so hard because, I mean, there's a lot of them that I haven't started yet, or they have so many books that I'd have to reread. And so for that, I've chosen the Wings of Fire series again, but this is the last, this one's called The Brightest Star, or The Brightest Night. This one, it's not necessarily the last book in the series, because the series continues, but this is the last book in the story arc for the main sort of Dragonettes of Prophecy. So if you know the series at all, but this is sort of the last book that concludes this story arc. And then there's a new story arc that starts with book 7. And then the very last book on my TBR for the Defense Against the Dark Arts, it's read a foiled book. So read a book that's got foiling on the front, and for that I've chosen Peter and the Starcatchers by Dave Barry and Ridley Pearson. So this one is, honestly, I don't know a ton about it. I remember starting it a long time ago, starting the audiobook, but this one's just about just kind of a different take on Peter Pan. And it's another middle grade, so I'm pretty excited to, it's one I've had for a long time, so I'm pretty excited to read it. That's my TBR for the entire month of August, and for the Booktubathon, and for the N.E.W.T challenges. So, if you want to see me hold up all these books. So this is my stack for the month of August. But you take away the top 3, and then this is my Booktubathon TBR. So I'm hoping to be able to get through it. They're all at least under 200 pages at least, and if they're over, then it's like a middle grade and big print and all that stuff. Let me know what you guys think. I'm pretty excited to try this, just to give it a shot. Let me know what you guys think of this TBR. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll link all the information I have down below if you guys have any questions. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.